Listen, if you're not willing to make big changes, the world will make big changes for you. That's the lesson that climate change should teach everyone, okay? People aren't willing to rock the boat and disrupt the economy by meaningfully fighting back against climate change. Well, you don't get a choice in the matter. The boat is getting rocked one way or another. You choose whether it's from your behavior or from a hurricane moving through. You get to choose that, you know? It's like complaining about rocking the boat when people are saying that you're being too aggressive and steering the ship away from the edge of a waterfall, you know? Okay, maybe my steering is a little bit rough. It's a waterfall, and we are not going over that fucking thing. Except in this case, it's actually a series of waterfalls, and we've already fallen down like 19 of them, but there were like 100 more, so, you know. But yeah, honest to God, I really do feel like that's a moderate position at this point. Like, I guess I feel like so much of this is abstracted by the fact that people live in the world they live in right now, and for that reason, they don't think of things the way they would if not besieged by ideology. But can you imagine a fantasy setting in which an asteroid is about to hit the planet and kill hundreds of millions of people, and it's a preventable asteroid hit, and the only reason that the asteroid is not, like, the only reason the asteroid's going to hit the planet is because it's being, like, directed by, like, magnet beams that a few wealthy, like, plutocrats make money from, and you could just turn those off and the asteroid would, like, whoosh away. We are literally talking about a situation in which the greed of a small number of people is going to kill more people than any other thing that has ever killed people before. We're talking about the obstinance of nation states and the greed of the bourgeois leading directly to what is essentially the closest thing to a human-oriented mass extinction event that has ever taken place. Unimaginable suffering. Nothing else in human history compares to it. Nothing humans have ever done to other humans or have had happen to them comes even remotely close. There is no genocide. There is no plague, no disease, no war that will even come close to the harm done by climate change. It is in a league of its own. It is unimaginably, just unfathomably beyond anything we have otherwise been capable of doing to each other. In any sane world, the people who have spread propaganda denying the existence of climate change will be remembered alongside Adolf Hitler and like King Leopold, with the predominant exception being that Hitler and Leopold's death counts were in the 7 to 8 digit range, and these guys are going to hit 9 digits, maybe 10. That's the critical difference there. Like, in any sane world, like, I don't think this is, like, ideology speaking on my behalf. I think I am just saying the world the way it is. Like, I don't think I'm giving you guys, like, some crazy out there narrative. This is literally just what is happening right now. They knew about climate change. They've known about it since the 1960s. They did research internally, didn't share it with the public, lied about it publicly, continue to lie about it, pay politicians to lie about it. The media lies about it because the media is owned by the same people who also have heavy shares in these industries. Like, this is such a clear-cut case, okay? Now, for all of that to be the case, and for me to say, maybe a little eco-Roblox wouldn't be so bad, guys, if we were talking about an anime fantasy world, would you have any fucking problem with the anime fantasy protagonist blowing up one of the factories that was leading to this murder of hundreds of millions of people? Shit like this happened in fucking The Last Airbender. Literally, The Last Airbender sabotaged a number of... Yeah, Final Fantasy VII is literally about this. If you... Like, libs will watch The Last Airbender and go, yes, I love it when Aang destroys the infrastructure of the Fire Nation because they're the bad guys. Except, hey guys, did the Fire Nation kill hundreds of millions of people? I don't think they did. That seems unlikely. I don't know if there were that many people in their world, okay? Seriously. And listen, okay? The critical difference between me and, like, your average fucking American lib is that if they were in the world of The Last Airbender and they saw Ozai about to do his fucking fire endgame move during Sojin's comet across the Earth Kingdom when he was just about to fucking charcoal the entire continent or whatever, they would be like, okay, well, that's not good, but, like, taking down his airships? You want to engage in terrorism against this nation state's, like industry? Like, except again, the Earth Kingdom probably didn't have hundreds of millions of people on it. So we're talking about, again, a worse. There's no comparison I can draw that it effectively captures the harm. You know? Yeah, even in fucking Harry Potter, they attack. Dude, God, it's so frustrating, dude. How liberals will make media where they're like, it is okay to fight back against evil, even if it means sometimes having to destroy property and do violence. And then in reality, we're seeing like a fucking apocalypse tier scenario. And they were like, no, no, not like that. No, no. The reason why is because liberals are authoritarians who need to be given the go-ahead by their nation state to say it's okay to take care of the problem. That's why. They need the nation state to step in and go, hey, that's another country and we're at war, so now it's morally okay to do this. That's the difference. They can never accept moral culpability for the equation themselves. They need an ultimate power to give them permission to stop thinking and to let some other institution do the work for them. Which is, of course, a bad fucking system, because generally speaking, when nation states tell you it's okay to kill another group of people, they're not doing it for fucking humanitarian reasons. But, you know, that's what liberals need. That's what liberals desire. That is the thing that they need. They can't make the moral decision by themselves, because absent the doctrine of a state, the default message is violence bad, property damage bad, and that's the extent of their thinking. And they need the go-ahead switch being toggled by a nation state in order to do the rest of the work. You're really spitting today? Aw, thank you. So wait, eco Roblox, but where no one gets hurt, dude. People. Okay, I'm okay. Listen, here are the things. Here are the things that are morally justifiable to prevent climate change. Here's what I can talk about on stream. And then of those things, here's the things that I can talk about without dog whistling. So let's talk about this range, okay? So eco-Robloxing, all right, doesn't need to be directed against human targets because, as I said before, humans are replaceable and most of the people you're going to hurt are just like innocent workers, whereas damage done to infrastructure is unimaginably more difficult to repair and deal with. You know what? How about this, okay? How about this? Don't take any info from me, because I'm not that well read on it. Instead, what you guys can do is wait 10 years when eco-terrorism is being relayed to you every single night over the news, because people are inevitably going to do this anyway, because our lives are going to end or at least become dramatically worse, and given situations like that, people are going to lash out. So, if anything, you can wait 10 years, learn from example. You haven't presented any tactics that would be meaningful, you're just vaguely gesturing at eco-terrorism as a helpful element while discrediting any reform work, and I find that to be a misunderstanding over leverage. I'm discrediting it only in that it's not going to happen, and hasn't happened, not that I don't think it would be useful. I think in a properly sane world, you know, the idea that like trade blocks could form to tariff like governments that don't do certain climate change reforms would be a workable idea. You know, it's just a matter of like what's actually going to happen, right? If you don't actually have an idea of how you can better inspire people to do this way, you're LARPing in favor of low revolution simply because it's not a liberal position. You misunderstand any. I'm limited in what I can say because I'm on a platform right now, okay? If any action is going to be done to prevent climate change, it is not going to be done electorally. It'll be done brutally painfully in a manner which entails a great deal of unnecessary suffering, and that is the world we are hurtling towards. This is not a prescriptive judgment on my part. This is descriptive. This will happen. You'd have to be insane to think it won't. I'm only saying that you should be prepared for this world. You can advocate for electoral solutions if you like, but I wouldn't hold your breath for them. Nothing meaningful, at least. I would, however, take into account the fact that life can be hard sometimes. Sometimes you live through history. Maybe it'll be us, maybe it'll be our children, okay? But something's going to happen, or at least a lot of things are going to happen in quick succession. And we just need to be ready for it. Hence my armory that I'm slowly building. Jesus, Sag. Don't you give me that. Chat, with respect, you guys realize that life was uncertain for all of human history up until we invented air conditioning, right? You guys literally live as like the third generation to exist after life stability became just a thing people expect in the West. And they don't expect this in the rest of the world, by the way. Do you think the people who were part of the Arab Spring revolutions are just like, oh, we live through history now? Bummer, man. No, life for them was never certain. You guys, not all of you in chat, I know that, but at least a lot of you, you're doomer about this because you've never lived with anything else. Most of human history has been living in the fear that The next winter could lead to the death of your children. The next harvest could be insubstantial, and you could be punished by your lord, you know? Most people lived in fear that the cough they're developing from their 18 hours in the coal mine isn't just a regular cough, but could be black lung. Most of life, for most people, has sucked for as long as we've existed. Now, thankfully, we have the internet now. For those of you who watch that lovely Doomer Media conversation, things are better for a lot of people in the West. Things have gotten a little bit more stable, but listen, a little bit more stable does not mean guaranteed, okay? It's okay to feel bad about it, but please do keep in mind that the prospect that in a couple of decades life might get bad and violent, the fact that that makes you uniquely upset, that is a privileged prospect. Because if you're living in a bunch of other countries right now, if you live in Gaza, if you live in Libya, if you live in Afghanistan, if you live in a fuck ton of countries in fucking Central Africa, okay? And if you live in Ukraine right now, these aren't guarantees they had. These aren't like, this isn't a shattered expectation or a broken promise. It's still bad, don't get me wrong. That's not to say that you should just like nut up and deal with it. I'm only pointing out that there is a solidarity to be found here between the situations we find ourselves in now and those of a great many people. How many people have died thinking they were witnessing the end days of civilization hundreds of years ago? How many people died in Pompeii? Huh? They must have thought it was the end of all things. How many tribal villages were overrun by Genghis Khan? How many millions of people died fighting his armies thinking that's the end? The evil empire won. But now Genghis Khan and his empire are dust. How many people fell to the Romans, or who fell with the Romans as the Roman Empire collapsed like 6 times? How many people were there for the death of the Grecian city-states, or for the death of democracy when they were inevitably turned or corrupted or fell apart or were invaded or conquered or annexed? How many people were there for what felt like the end of the world during the great split of the Catholic Church, during the Protestant Revolution, during the Catholics who were purged, or the Christians who were purged in Rome and sent to go fight lions in the Colosseum? The Cold War, nuclear war, the Black Death, half of Europe dead, starvation every winter. Do you know how many fucking people died when they came to the New World? There were settlements built along the east coast of the United States that were just found by later colonists empty. Frozen corpses littering the ramshackle wooden palisades of the makeshift civilization they had built, unable to properly farm and therefore to survive. So many people have died thinking, it's the end, it's over. And you know what? So far, every single one of them has been wrong. Literally every single one of them, okay? Literally every single time they've been wrong, without exception, because things kept going. Now, is climate change worse than every situation I've just described put together? Yes. But you know what? I think we're going to make it through too. You know why? Because after enough humans die, industrial production will slow down to the point that the Earth's temperature levels out again. Kablamo. We've had these heat and cold shocks before. Humanity as a concept will probably survive in some form. 1,000 years from now, they're going to be growing maize and oranges, in what remains of the Northern Californian, farming belt. And they're going to be like, damn, people used to be really dumb 1,000 years ago. And they're going to bite into an orange and say, yep. There will be, listen, okay? It's the year, though they won't know it, is 3,827, okay? And the Giga Chad of the local village who lives in what remains of Idaho is just deep dicking his girlfriend, okay? Absolutely just fucking tunneling the walls. I mean, just excavating her, okay? And they're doing so on the rusted, dilapidated remains of a concrete shelf that used to be the roof of a banking building that occupied that place nearly 2,000 years ago. And they don't know why that concrete's there. They know it's concrete. They don't know it was a banking building or whatever. And they will briefly reflect, well, again, while the back walls are being, absolutely blown out, at how silly the old people were. Because we do that today when we go look at their old ruins. Do you understand? Do you understand the perspective? Everything continues. Everything keeps going. Right now, you know, Cairo in Egypt, you know, thrives in the shade of the pyramids. That was like fucking a billion years ago, okay? Things keep going. And you know what? If things don't keep going, then some other fucking advanced species is going to evolve and replace us, okay? We already have monkeys. You think we can't monkey twice? I bet Earth could monkey like 3 times easily. We got plenty of time before the sun expands and encompasses the you know, the orbital belt of Earth, or makes this uninhabitable. We can monkey we can monkey 4 times, maybe. We can do it. It's possible. Now, they won't know what the concrete was. You know, they won't get it. Oh, and here's a fun little bonus, okay? We only get to make this mistake once. Humanity has already mined basically all of the essential metals and extracted all the natural gas, oil, and coal anywhere near the surface of the planet. So any future civilization that comes about will have absolutely no way of redoing climate catastrophe. They will not have the resources which will allow them to do so. So they're going to be elves. They'll have to live with wood in the forests, I guess, you know, and they'll have like bone spears or something. I don't know. That's fine. That's fine. Like, that's fine. Imagine humans with modern levels of education, but they're all like living in trees. I don't know. Maybe they stay in the redwoods. That'd be nice. Redwoods are nice. I used to live there. That'd be pretty. I'm rambling about all of this because I think it's really important to maintain an appropriate sense of perspective, because when you do so, it makes it a little bit easier to emotionally and intellectually comprehend what climate change represents, okay? We should always think of these terrible crises and occurrences not as the end times necessarily, even if it may be rhetorically, you know, effective to do so, but rather as a link in a long chain, a continuous line of Earth's history and those who inhabit it. And we have the power to make things better or worse, but, you know, we should always temper our understanding of the problems with, you know, an appropriate degree of perspective. It's one of the reasons why I really like the end of Adventure Time. I guess spoilers, but like the final episode of Adventure Time, the show, nice show, is 1,000 years in the future, and the protagonists are long dead. Really, that's the it's really quite perfect. I think. You know, you have this wacky post-nuclear world, you know, the whole world of Adventure Time is is after a nuke went off. You know, it's a whole thing. And at the end of the show, here, what is it? Final episode future. And you know, you meet all these wacky people, all the cool stuff happens, a blah blah blah. And then you know, the final episode takes place, and the main characters are dead. Everyone's dead. Because it's way in the future, dummy. That's what happens in the future. And you just follow these 2 people who look and act kind of like our protagonists, wandering what's left of the world. Everything that used to be there is now gone or different. Things have grown, died, changed. The whole point is that life goes on, and these guys get to have their own adventure. Even though they will never know the people who lived 1,000 years ago, they still walk in the footsteps of them. And that's nice. Things change. But things never change. That's the moral. We're getting profound in here by referencing children's animation.